While you weren't paying attention, a 75-year-old brand is quietly disappearing. True Value, the name that once appeared in every neighborhood where you would go when you needed to fix a pipe or ask how to do something, is now filing for bankruptcy and selling off nearly all of its business operations. It sounds like a typical story in the business world. But if you look closely, this is not an unexpected fall. This is a collapse process that has lasted for many years, slow, predictable, and almost inevitable. The question is not why they went bankrupt, but why didn't anyone realize it sooner? True Value is not an unfamiliar name. If you have ever lived in a quiet neighborhood where everything operates at a slower pace, that's not the kind of store you walk into and leave in 5 minutes. It's like a place where you stop, ask, exchange. For over 75 years, True Value has built a network of more than 4,500 stores, but the remarkable thing is that most of them are not anonymous chains. Those are independent stores operated by people from the community, and that is what makes the difference. You don't just buy a hammer or a piece of pipe, you ask, which one should I use? And on the other side of the counter, not just an ordinary salesperson, but rather someone who truly understands the job. Maybe they used to be carpenters, electricians, or simply have worked there for 20 years. There is a very memorable comment. This is the place you go when you need advice, not just to buy things. And that's the truth. True Value doesn't sell products, they sell knowledge, selling trust, selling the feeling that you don't have to struggle to fix everything in the house by yourself. In an increasingly automated world where everything is optimized to be faster, cheaper, more convenient, True Value represents something very human, very slow, and very real. But precisely because of that, it began to feel out of place, because when customers gradually become more concerned about prices when they can find answers on YouTube, instead of asking a real person, the greatest advantage of True Value also gradually loses its weight, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you want to understand why a seemingly irreplaceable model is starting to collapse, stay tuned, because the next part is where things really get interesting. And if you find stories like this interesting, you can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next analyses. But if you think True Value started having problems when the market turned bad, then perhaps you're looking at the story in the wrong order. The truth is, everything started to crack long before that. And it stemmed from a decision that in hindsight was almost an irreversible turning point. In 2018, True Value did something that many in the industry considered extremely risky. They sold their distribution system, warehousing, and supply chain to an investment fund. At first glance, it seems reasonable. Cut costs, optimize operations, focus on retail, but the problem is, it's not just a support department. That is the heart of the entire system. When you control the supply, you control the price, control the quality, control the speed, and most importantly, you control your own profit margin. And when you sell it, you no longer have any control. And that's exactly what happened. After that deal, the True Value stores, which had previously operated quite independently, began to depend on the new system. They no longer have the freedom to choose their suppliers as before. Instead, they have to purchase goods through the new parent company, with prices and conditions that are no longer favorable as before. Result: profit margins are starting to shrink. Costs are rising, but the selling price cannot increase accordingly because customers always have cheaper options elsewhere. One comment was very straightforward. They lost control of the margin and were forced to buy from their own system. It sounds paradoxical, but it makes complete sense from a financial perspective. And this is when things start to become difficult to save. Because when a business loses control of its supply chain, it's like a body losing its circulatory system. You can still stand there, still operate, but inside everything is gradually weakening day by day. There is a saying worth pondering. You can outsource marketing, but you cannot outsource the backbone of the business. True Value did that. And the price to pay doesn't come immediately, it comes gradually. Quietly. That's why for many years afterward, looking from the outside, everything still seemed fine. The store is still open, customers keep coming, revenue still exists, but inside the system is gradually tightening. Cash flow is becoming thinner, the ability to be flexible disappears, and every small market shock is starting to have a much greater impact than before. This is no longer a story of a bad market causing businesses to fail. This is the story of a business weakening itself before the real storm arrives. And what makes many people most upset is not just that decision, but the consequences that follow. Because when you look more closely, you will see that this is not a random mistake. It is part of a familiar operation in the modern financial world. And there, True Value is not the only case. In the next part, we will talk about the person behind such decisions and why so many people believe they are not saving the business, but quietly draining it. If you find that this type of analysis helps you see more clearly what is happening behind familiar brands, you can follow the channel so you don't miss similar stories. And this is when the story starts to become a bit more uncomfortable, because when it comes to such decisions, many people not only blame the management, but also point directly at a familiar figure, private equity. It sounds like a distant financial concept, but in reality, the way they operate is quite simple. They acquire businesses, optimize costs, increase profits on paper, then withdraw the money and exit the deal. In theory, this is not wrong. In fact, in many cases, private equity even helps businesses become more efficient. But the problem is that their incentives do not always align with the long-term interests of the company. There is a very straightforward comment: heads they win, tails you lose. Translation, rough translation, no matter what happens, they still win. And when looking at the case of True Value, many people are starting to see that it is not an exaggeration. After restructuring the business, the system began to take on more debt. Cash flow became tighter, and while the stores have to struggle with rising costs, at the financial level, there are still funds being withdrawn in the form of dividends or capital restructuring. This creates a very uncomfortable feeling for the observer. The company is still operating, but the internal value is gradually being drained. That's why some people describe this process with a rather harsh term, blood-sucking. It sounds extreme, but if you put yourself in the shoes of independent stores, those who bear higher costs, lower profit margins, and less control, then that feeling is not unreasonable. And here's the key point. It's not that True Value weakened naturally, but they become weaker after each financial decision. Each time they optimize, every time we restructure, each time value is created, altogether creating a system much more fragile than before. At this point, you might start to see a familiar pattern. A business does not collapse immediately, but is eroded from within layer by layer. But if that's all there is to it, perhaps True Value still has a chance to turn things around. The problem is, all of this is happening just as the market is starting to turn its back. And at that point, the weaknesses that already existed began to be magnified many times over. In the next part, we will look at external factors, what has changed after COVID, and why customers who were once the reason for True Value's existence have become the driving force behind their rapid decline. If you find this perspective helps you better understand how financial deals actually impact real-life businesses, you can follow the channel because there are many more similar stories behind familiar brands. But even when everything inside has weakened, True Value can still survive if the external environment doesn't change too quickly, and that is the problem. During the COVID period, the hardware and home repair industry truly experienced a boom. When people were stuck at home, they started repairing, renovating, and doing DIY projects. From repainting the living room to replacing pipes, installing shelves, the demand has skyrocketed. Revenue is increasing. The number of customers is increasing. From the outside, this looks like a golden period. But in reality, it's like an adrenaline rush, strong, fast, but not sustainable. And when the world reopened, everything turned around almost immediately. Consumers began to tighten their spending. Expenses that can be postponed, like home repairs, buying tools, are the first to be cut. There is a very clear insight from the comments: people are cutting wants, keeping only needs. And that's the key point. True Value doesn't sell essentials. They sell things you can buy, but don't necessarily have to buy right away. So they don't lose customers. Customers simply no longer have a reason to come. At the same time, the housing market began to stagnate. Interest rates are rising, house prices are high. Owning a house, especially for the younger generation, has become harder than ever. And if you don't have a house, You don't need to renovate one either. A very clear chain reaction. Fewer people buying homes leads to fewer repairs, leads to less hardware demand, leads to decreased revenue. This is not just True Value's fault. This is a macro trend. But the issue lies in the timing. If you are a healthy business, you can withstand this cycle. You have reserves, economies of scale, and the ability to lower prices to retain customers. But if you were already weak, as we just discussed, then this shock is not just a difficulty, but a fatal blow. And that is exactly what happened. True Value entered the post-COVID phase with higher costs, lower profit margins, and less flexibility. When demand decreases, they don't have a buffer to absorb that shock. This is when everything starts to accelerate. A prolonged weakening process now accelerated in just a few quarters. But even so, there is still one final factor that makes everything almost irreparable. Because when customers still have needs, they don't choose True Value. They choose another place. In the next part, we will talk about the reasons why and why competitors like Home Depot or Lowe's hardly give True Value any chance to compete. If you see this picture starting to come together, you can follow the channel because the next part will be the final piece to understand why this disappearance was almost inevitable. And at this point, even if you overlook all the internal issues or market factors, there remains a very simple and also very cold truth. True Value is playing a game they can almost never win because their competitors are not other small stores. It's Home Depot and Lowe's, the giants with a scale that True Value cannot compare to. Let's look at how this game operates. Home Depot can purchase items in massive quantities, which means lower import prices. Lower import prices lead to lower selling prices, and in retail, just being 10 to 20% cheaper is enough to make a difference. One comment was very straightforward. I like the local store, but I can't overlook that Home Depot is 25% cheaper. It's no longer a matter of emotion, it's math. Not just the price, Home Depot also has more options, a more optimized logistics system, and a faster shopping experience. Meanwhile, True Value is in a very awkward position. They are not big enough to compete on price, but also not different enough to retain customers through experience. This is something in business called stuck in the middle. You are not the cheapest option, but you also don't have to be the best choice. And when customers have to decide, they won't choose you, especially in the post-COVID context when people are tightening their spending. At this moment, the factor of liking this store is no longer strong enough. It is defeated by a simpler question: where can I buy this cheaper? And the answer most of the time is not True Value. This is why many people say that True Value doesn't lose because they do everything wrong, but because they no longer have any strong advantages to win. And that is the scariest part. Because when you lose your competitive advantage, not temporarily, but structurally, there is almost no way to come back. You can't suddenly become cheaper than Home Depot. You also can't immediately become a premium brand distinct enough to justify a higher price. You just exist there and gradually being replaced. This is not a crash. This is an erosion where customers leave bit by bit until you face the biggest question being asked. And perhaps the saddest part of this story is that True Value is not a company that did everything wrong. In fact, they did many things right. They have employees that you can't find in big stores, those who truly understand the job, understand the product, and most importantly, understand their customers. You don't just walk in to buy something. You walk in to ask, what should I do? And there is someone there ready to help you. Someone once said, I can buy it cheaper elsewhere, but I come here because they know what I am doing. That's not something you can measure by revenue. It's also not something you can optimize with an algorithm. That is trust. It's a relationship. It's the familiar feeling of a neighborhood store where you're not just a number. But the problem is, those things can't scale. You can't replicate 4,500 stores with the same quality of people. You cannot compete with a nationwide system just by offering slightly better service. And in a world increasingly dominated by price and speed, those values are gradually becoming a luxury. What once made True Value special is now what makes it hard for them to survive. And that is the most painful paradox. Because you know they once had value, you know they used to be important, but you also realize that's no longer enough. And when a business loses the reason for customers to need them, then customers liking them cannot save anything. But true value is not the only case. And if you look a little broader, you'll see this is just a part of a bigger story unfolding in the retail industry. If you want to understand what is really changing and what might disappear next, join me at the end. And if stories like these make you think you can follow the channel so you don't miss the next analyzes. But if you think this is just True Value's story, then perhaps you are looking too narrowly, because at the same time, not just one, but many other retail chains are also falling into a similar situation. Big Lots, LL Flooring, the once familiar names, are now struggling, downsizing, or going bankrupt. This is no longer a coincidence. This is a pattern, a cycle that we have seen before where a period of strong growth is followed by a massive collapse. Some even say outright it's like 2007. And if that's true, then True Value is just one of the first pieces of the puzzle. What is truly disappearing here is not just a brand, but an entire business model. Local stores personalized service, slow but sustainable growth. In a world dominated by scale, low prices, and speed, those models are gradually losing their foothold. And the question is no longer who will disappear next, but rather, how many more brands are in a situation like True Value we just haven't realized it yet? If you see this story as not just stopping at one company, you can follow the channel because the final part will be where we ask the most important question: what does this really mean for the future of the retail industry? And when you look back at the whole story, it is no longer just a single collapse. True Value didn't disappear for just one reason. Not just because of the bad market, not just because of competition, but rather a combination of many things: internal decisions, financial pressures, and an external world that has changed faster than they can adapt. What is worth considering is all those signs had already appeared before. It's just that no one really paid attention. And that might be the most concerning part, because if a 75-year-old brand can disappear like this, then how many other businesses are on the same path we just haven't noticed yet? Who will be the next True Value, and will local stores, once the heart of the community, still have a place in the future? Maybe you will have a different perspective, and that's exactly what I want to hear. Where do you think the biggest cause lies, inside the business or in the changing consumer? If you find this topic worth delving into further, you can follow the channel to gain a clearer understanding of what is happening behind familiar brands. And a small note, this video is built from various public information sources and analytical perspectives, so it may not reflect the entire picture of the business. But sometimes, those very pieces are enough for us to recognize a larger trend. True Value doesn't disappear noisily. It just gradually fades away, and most of us don't notice. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next videos.